These Are My Friends. My name's Gabriel. This is a music podcast where I talk to friends and family about pivotal music moments in their life, either bands they're devoted to, albums they love, songs that meant something extra special to them. Today I'm talking to my friend Kelsey, who is one half of the really amazing When They Popped pod, which is a Y2K themed pop culture podcast. We get into some great conversation about one group that has been with Kelsey for much of her life, and she's still very devoted to as a fangirl, as she says. And let's get right into it. I don't want to make this like a collab kind of show totally, but I feel like that's going to be the case because I was talking to Aaron last night in like anticipating talking to you, and so after we saw you and Mike in Boston and you were like talking about When They Popped and everything you guys have done, and then like the Max Martin stuff, I'm still so impressed by that series of episodes because that's like that's like real like music journalism, and like you
All
should both
Mary.
feel very proud of yourselves for doing
Thank
that.
you. It's really Mary. Mary has a background in broadcast journalism
Yeah.
and she does all of the editing. I feel like, just takes it to the next level totally. I'm the personality hire on the podcast. I feel like I just kind of throw out some episode ideas here and there, but Mary is the one that like keeps the train on the tracks, and she'll be
Yeah.
so delighted to hear that because Max Martin, I'm sure if anyone listens to like one episode, we talk about him in every single episode because the lore,
It's
and
crazy.
I feel like a lot of people know his name maybe, or they've of course at least heard a song that he's done, but when I was little, I had no idea who he was and how he was behind like the soundtrack of our lives. So I feel like we got giddy and excited about it, and I feel like
Yeah.
that also helps.
I did not until you told me about him, and then like listening to those few shows and then or those few episodes, and then like from that conversation, it's like, oh my God, like this guy has like been responsible for like most of the pop music that I like in my life.
And like single-handedly.
Yeah.
What? Like, how did this guy, I think he was only like 19 when he started working with Backstreet
Yeah, it's
Boys and
crazy.
Britney. And it's like, what? Who gave this kid from Sweden a chance? And like,
Yeah.
thank God they did. But
Yeah.
it's just so, I don't know how people do it nowadays. Like, I feel like you have to go viral on TikTok to get like noticed by
Right.
anybody.
Yeah. Well, all right. I just wanted to share that because I've thought about that a lot since listening to those.
Thanks,
Um,
Gabriel.
but so I could totally be wrong, but I feel like a lot of this conversation is probably going to be about the Backstreet Boys, but maybe not. Like maybe I'm oversimplifying your like musical life. But what was like?
I don't know about
All right,
that.
so like as a child in West Hartford, I mean, we basically have like parallel like popular music experiences probably, and like similar cultures since we grew up pretty close to each other. But what was like? Was there like a moment on a bus or something like that, or like when did like you acknowledge that you were like whatever this is that I'm hearing right now is creating something in my life that I didn't know I could feel?
It's such a deep question. And I really had to think about this because I grew up in a house with a fangirl. My mom is a huge fangirl of Billy Joel. So I
Oh,
cannot remember a time where Billy Joel was not like blaring through the house. So I feel like my original fangirl moment started with Billy Joel. And my mom had this VHS of him live in concert. It must have been from like the late 80s because he had that dark curly hair still. And he plays
uh-huh.
Uptown Girl and he brings his daughter, Alexa, with like these big earphones, like protective headphones on the stage. That's his daughter with Christy Brinkley. And I was like,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
do I love Billy Joel? Like, or is Billy Joel my dad? Because like my mom's in love with him. Like, I was very confused, but I knew that his music just made my mom really happy. And then and so he made, everyone's dancing in the kitchen to Uptown Girl all the time. And then when I
Hmm.
heard Backstreet Boys for the first time, I was like, okay, this is my Billy Joel moment. Like,
Huh.
and I feel like because I saw my mom really embrace being excited about something and loving something unabashedly and like not being embarrassed to like scream something from the rooftops when you love it. I just
Yeah.
like totally went all in on Backstreet Boys and
Yeah.
she really like helped me not feel like embarrassed about that. And even now I'm in my mid 30s and I'm still a fangirl and I have a
Yeah.
podcast about it.
Yeah. I mean, but that's like a really the times like when we've like when our families have been together and we've like talked about it a little bit. I think I've always been like, man, that's like a really there's like a real sincerity to your like level of enthusiasm about that particular group and like been how you've like let yourself continue that into being an adult too and you like haven't like shed it at any point in your life and been like this is like the old
The old me.
the like this is like the young me. I like more like mature things now or something like that, which is something for me, which is like, I've gone through phases of being like, uh, I've like thrown out CDs or something like that that I don't think I'm gonna want to listen to again. That I then like later acknowledge are like hugely influential to me, and
Right.
then I'm like so regretful that I've let myself ignore my past fandom like that.
And I mean, that's natural, right? Everyone has
Yeah.
evolving tastes. And so, I mean, when I was in middle school, high school, I was not listening to Backstreet Boys every day. I went through a very deep John Mayer phase because that's when I realized how important lyrics were to me.
Mm.
And I really connected with Continuum
Yeah.
and his
Great
As
album.
Is live albums. Like I had every single one, even though they were pretty much the same, because I loved his lyrics so much. And I kind of like put Backstreet Boys on the back seat. But as I get older, I just embrace the nostalgia. And I still feel
Yeah.
like I'm 9 years old in my bedroom, like wondering what love is and like what my first date or like what my husband's gonna look like. Like that's how I feel when I listen to them. And it's impossible to not just, take a step back and be like, wow, this is what music is supposed to do. So who cares what if it's a pop group or a boy band that's making me feel this way? The
Yeah.
purpose of music is to make you feel something, and I want my music to make me feel good, and that's who I turn to. And I definitely went through a phase where I was like a little embarrassed. There's
Yeah.
a point where it's not cool, and I still get from a lot of people, oh, are they still together? And I'm like, yes, I'm literally going to a fan event in Mexico for them this week. But it's like, I don't know, it did take some time, I feel like, to help embrace that
Mm.
because, people change and so do their tastes, and that's fine. I'm just glad that I was able to go back and embrace it because who doesn't need like a warm hug of nostalgia right now,
Oh, yeah,
especially?
for sure. And do you think that like your mom's sort of like full tilt fangirlness for Billy Joel was like affirming to you and that was like a good cue to you that like it's okay to be this devoted to a certain performer?
Oh, absolutely. And not even just that, but I do think that it was sort of like a blueprint for other things that I would get excited about, like
Mm.
any other hobbies or whatever I was interested in. It's like you don't need to feel bad for being excited about something, and that's really what it taught me. But it's also became like a full-blown part of my personality. Like I was like the girl who liked Backstreet Boys. Like they were in my first screen name. Like it was like,
Oh,
oh, anytime
had to
someone
be.
sees a TikTok, they're like, send it to me. Like if there are Backstreet Boys involved, when they did their Super Bowl commercial for Doritos in 2019, my phone blew. It was like I got married or something. My phone was blowing up. People were like, they're back. Oh my God, they're back again. I was like, they never left, but sure. I'm glad everyone's
Yeah.
excited about this. But
Yeah.
I definitely feel like my mom was a positive role model for me in that way because it's just it was so lighthearted, and it's like you're not hurting anyone if you're
Right.
excited about
Right.
something. And I feel
Hey,
like
great
that
point.
helped me embrace it for sure.
Yeah. That I think is like what you just said, I think, is like a something that should be shared to many people right now. Because I like, especially when it comes to like music and the arts and stuff, I think there's like a real tendency for people to like get easily embarrassed about something because there's like such a level of like sophistication with all of it, and like how uh, just yeah, it's like another way for people to be like, you're or like talking about like being in high school in a creative arts program. We like had all of our boxes. Like I was like there were like the kids that like thought the Beatles were like heaven sent. And I was like, the Beatles mean nothing to me. And they would be like, and I've like, I'm like starting to come around because I don't hang out with those people anymore. So I don't feel all that like
Right.
toxicity of like, you must believe that the Beatles are like the reason for music existing. Um, yeah, but there is a lot, especially like when we're younger too. It's just such an urgency to um I don't know, like like keep getting like more and more
Like gatekeeping.
sophisticated and like how indie can I get? And I totally fall into that because I'm such a music obsessive. I'm like, all right, the hole cannot be dug. Like I will dig until there is no more hole to dig
You're
for
the
like the
only fan.
weirdest. Yeah, and if I find an artist, a new artist, and I look at Spotify and it's like 120 monthly listeners, I'm like, yeah, hell
Yes.
yeah. I'm
I wore like a Led Zeppelin shirt one day to school and I got name three songs like
You
18 times.
got
It's like,
that?
and I was like, why are you trying to gatekeep Led Zeppelin?
Yeah.
Like, seriously?
Yeah.
And if you showed any bit of interest, it was like you had to be all in. Like, I went through a big Good Charlotte phase,
Yeah.
Good Charlotte, Green Day. So I got, the Etnies. I asked for a skateboard for Christmas. Like, I thought that I had to go like so deep into it, but it's like, no, like you're allowed to be a casual fan of things. You're
Yeah.
allowed to like things that other people could be really huge fans. That's what I've never really understood about fandoms in that way. Because if someone comes up to me when I'm wearing a Backstreet Boys shirt and they're I love AJ or I love Brian, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, girl, like welcome to the club. Like we're instant friends. But then there was definitely in like middle school, high school, this like you can't like Led Zeppelin, like you straighten your hair and wear makeup, like you're
Right.
not allowed in our music club. But hopefully, I feel like that it's just like an age type thing, and that sort of like
Yeah.
mellows out a
You
little
would hope. Um, but I'm kind of curious about that too, because what is it like seeing a band that you love so much and like kind of age with them? Like
They're old.
they're older than us, but to begin with, but because you've kept that fandom so close to you, you've kind of as you've gotten older, they've gotten older and stayed together, and then they're like the last time I heard a song of theirs, Aaron showed me a new song of theirs, but that was like 10 years ago or something like that. And it was like wild to see them because they like all looked roughly the same, but like the music was kind of you could tell that they had sort of matured in sound too
Yep.
a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And yeah.
No, no
So
more Max Martin. I
mm,
don't think they work with him anymore. It's weird because obviously they're going to want to evolve with the times, and I feel like any artist has this sort of struggle where when fans go to see a Backstreet Boys concert, they want to hear "As Long as You Love Me," "I Want It That
mhm.
Way," "Larger Than Life." But they're artists too. They're allowed to grow and
Right.
evolve and come out with new stuff. They have like 10 albums out. So a lot of people associate them with just their first two or three
Hmm.
because they were just so massive.
Yeah.
And it is really interesting. I think they kind of get it. They play into the nostalgia a lot. But something that I think is really cool about their show is every single guy gets his own little mini solo set and they can sing whatever they want.
Oh,
And
cool.
that's sort of been, interesting. But yeah, I see them and I'm like, wow, they're old and they have kids. And I'm also old
Yeah.
now. But like, who cares? For this night, for these next 3 hours, I'm 9 years old. I'm listening to my tape player, like
Yeah,
their
right.
first album, and
Right.
like throw it all to the wind. It's all just so like light and fun. And I feel like they're one of those few acts that hasn't tried to shy away or been embarrassed by their previous stuff. Like I think you hear a lot of artists who are like, oh, I hate that song, even though it's the one that made them famous.
Yeah.
They're just like, whatever, our fans love it, we'll do it for them, but we're going to continue trying new stuff,
Yeah.
which I don't know. I like that as a fan because if you hear your favorite artist say, oh, I hate performing that song, it makes you feel kind of bad.
Yeah. So yeah, it's almost like it's almost like you're hearing them say like this is maybe a little extreme, but it's almost like they're invalidating like the joy
Yes.
that you had hearing it, you
Yeah.
know?
And you're like, hello, good Charlotte. Like, I love Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous. Like,
Yeah.
or Simple Plan. They hate their song Addicted. You know, and they're like,
Oh yeah.
I'm addicted to you. Like, who doesn't love screaming that song in their
That was a great
car?
episode too, by the way.
Oh my God, thanks. But like, why would you say that you hate that
Yeah.
song? I don't know. It's also, so are you familiar with Something Corporate or Jack's Mannequin, Andrew McMahon?
So Aaron introduced me to Jack's Mannequin. I really like something corporate, and I never
Okay.
knew until Aaron explained. I didn't know they were like
The
who is it?
same
The
band.
piano player's the same guy in the
Andrew McMahon,
yeah
yeah.
yeah.
So he's had like 18 bands. He did Something Corporate, then that became Jack's Mannequin, and then it became Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. Well, he
Oh
went on
jeez.
tour recently and he played this Something Corporate song called Constantine that everybody is obsessed with. And he was like, he kind of has this part of his show where he's like, I really appreciate that you guys let me play my new
Hmm.
stuff, even though I know you want to hear my old, whiny, teenage garage music. And everyone was like, yeah, we do. That's
Yeah, those songs
why
slap.
we
Sorry.
came here. And he played Constantine. He sort of like made fun of himself while he was doing it. And it didn't take away from the crowd, but to your point, it does sort of like invalidate your feelings a little bit because
Yeah.
sure, I was 16 and super dramatic and like making John Mayer AIM away message lyrics. Like that's embarrassing, but the song still means something to me. So
Yeah.
don't make me feel bad about it. I already do. We're
Yeah, but
already so embarrassed of ourselves.
and it's also like I don't listen to John Mayer a whole lot. And I think maybe you like maybe we've talked about this before about John Mayer, but like I came around really late to Continuum because there was like my sister had what is it? Room for Squares? Was that his
Yes.
first album?
Yep.
Yeah. She had Room for Squares and I thought it was like really cheesy. I was listening to a lot of like skate punk stuff at the time, so I was like this is stupid. Um but then I like got
Understandable.
well, I don't think
First,
Room for Squares is a very good album. Um
lyrically, it is a little weak. You can tell that he's kind of like patting himself on the back for some of
mm.
the lyrics there.
Yeah, it's just like, he was a young guy too. And like, what are not everybody can be like a lyrical prodigy when they're like in their early 20s and like let people write pop songs that have pretty shallow
Right.
lyrics.
And everybody's cringe at some point or another. We
Yeah.
just are fortunate enough where we aren't international
Yeah.
music stars. So no
Yeah,
one's
right.
throwing it back in our
Right.
face.
Yeah. But there's actually like um one of my platoon medics in the army was like a huge John Mayer fan, which I thought was like so corny. And then, but he's such a sweet guy, and I like really he was a really good friend of mine. And I was like, all right, fine. I guess I gotta like I don't want to just like he seemed to get like kind of upset when I would like make John Mayer
Mm.
jokes about it. So I was like, all right, like I'll see what this is about. Um, Yeah, and then started listening to Continuum, and I had, been playing music myself for such a long time, and at that point, and could understand it with like a little more respect than
Mhm.
just like the childishness of like this was the stupid album
Your
that my
body is a
sister had.
wonderment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Was
yeah.
there a particular song on Continuum where you were like, oh, like it clicked for you?
Um, It's got a woman's name in the title. Hold on.
Not me pulling up my Spotify immediately.
Oh, I totally spelled it wrong.
Are you thinking of one of his later albums? Because he has like Dear Marie,
Oh
which
no,
is a
what am
great
I?
song.
Oh, well, I played guitar for a version of Stop This Train at graduation for um like this woman in my class wanted to sing it, or no, two people wanted to sing it, and then like I played guitar and a friend of mine played violin for it or something like that.
That's so deep. I
Yeah, those.
totally would have cried if I was there.
What song am I thinking of on here?
Stop This Train. That's when he sings
Oh,
about that.
Vultures. I don't know why I thought it had.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe you know someone
Vultures.
who reminds you of a vulture.
Yeah. Um.
Down
Yeah.
to the wire.
Uh. Yeah. I think Vultures is such a sick song. Um.
A good one.
And then that's how I started getting more and more into like the John Mayer trio stuff, and like appreciated him as a musician a little bit more. And then yeah, I don't. I think like as he became a little more like soul sort of oriented, I appreciated his music more than just like yeah, I mean I think like he had grown up a little more, so maybe there was some more depth to his music. But
Yeah. At his concerts, he makes fun of himself too and like how cringy he was and some of the songs that he may not love anymore, but he knows that the
mm.
fans really appreciate. Mike actually came to his Sob Rock tour with me.
Oh, nice.
And during Your Body is a Wonderland, he does it sort of like stadium style where the camera goes on the crowd and there's like a kiss cam and stuff. And he has like emojis over the screen. Like it's so unserious.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
that's I just love that so much because at the end of the day, it's like music is supposed to make you feel something. And
Right.
when you're talking about those old songs that sure, maybe the lyrics aren't great. Like what Backstreet Boys song has amazing lyrics? Like don't ask me because I'm like so not even thinking about the lyrics when I'm thinking about the voices and the harmonies and that was never important to me when I was younger. But
Yeah.
as you get older and you start to appreciate that stuff, you look back and you're like, what does this like
Yeah, but
what's going on here?
like
Okay, what matter?
the first episode that I did was with my buddy Jake, and he's like a diehard Slipknot fan, and I like the way I explained it to him was like I like there are some Slipknot songs that I really like, but I'm like I love people who love Slipknot because they're just like totally they're I mean they're like fanboys or fangirls in the like most sincere way. But we were talking about like how we each got into like sort of angrier sounding music when we like came from like pretty normal suburban lives, and people would be like what are you so bent out of shape about, and we'd be like well, I don't know, but this
Um,
music is great. And like I feel like there might be something there too for like you liking the Backstreet Boys in the way you do, or like anybody feeling like they have to explain why they like a particular performer or a particular style of music, like why they might have to explain it any more than just being like it just makes me feel good, or it like
right.
you know
Right. Or like a cheesy John Mayer song. It's like, I don't know. I went through like a breakup when I was 16 and
yeah,
dreaming with a broken heart felt really deep at the moment.
yeah,
Okay. Like, and it
yeah,
sticks with you, becomes a part of that memory, that time when you listen to it. And I feel like music is the only thing that does that for me. Like, I know smell is really deeply connected to memory
right,
or whatever, but like,
right.
I've never tasted something and be like, oh, this reminds me of this time. It's always been music for me.
Yeah,
And
same.
it's just crazy how I can be like crumpled up like a little ball of stress. And then I hear the opening chords to As Long as You Love Me. And I'm like, nothing matters. There's a
Yeah,
trampoline in the backyard.
yeah,
Life is good.
yeah.
the biggest thing I have to worry about is if my calculator has batteries in it. Like that is,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it's crazy that I was talking to another uh friend of mine, Clay, who was like the one who got me into doing the radio show and stuff like that. And he was talking about how he would like unintentionally make movies in his head when he heard certain songs. And that how
yes.
there's this like immediate like whatever he's living at the time and he hears this song in the background, it's like somebody just started recording that moment.
Yeah. Like when it's raining and you're in the backseat of the car and you're like looking out the window wistfully.
Yeah.
Or is that just me?
No, dude,
It helps you romanticize your life a little bit
it does,
more.
it does for sure. And it, because we get caught up in like just everydayness so much, it kind of helps to give like a cinematic quality to like everydayness where you're not just walking around like, oh, this is total drudgery right now. Like, yeah,
Right.
I'm like, you know,
And there's some,
affording all the things I need to, but like there's not a lot of luster to it. And then you like play the absolute perfect song and yeah, everything like gets like super well lit all of a sudden.
everything's back in Technicolor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah,
I mean, who
exactly.
doesn't need to romanticize their own life a little bit more?
Yeah.
And I find that with those songs that do that for me, like I never get sick of them either. Like I can listen to them on repeat and just still love it just
Yep.
as much as I did 15 plays ago. I'm curious, Gabriel, do you have a song that is like
Oh
that for you?
man.
If you could name just like your top two or whatever, like that one song that if someone had to torture you and play like a song over and over and over again, you'd be like, I don't care, I fucking love this song. Sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Oh yeah. Uh that's like I wish it would rain by the Temptations.
Wow.
Um and there's like a so none of the original Temptations existed at this point, but there's like the I think it's called the Simsbury Meadows, but the like outdoor theater that's in Simsbury, they
Yeah.
played there one time and the street where we lived right on Route 10 at the time and you could hear the concerts from my bedroom and the Temptations were playing there and I was like going to sleep like hearing the Temptations and they played I Wish It Would Rain. And this is like a song that I would listen to like over and over and over and over again because I'm a little sad boy. Um, so that song, uh,
Do you think that's why you love music so much? Because of your proximity to that live? I mean, that's really special.
oh, I don't know. Kelsey, all this stuff that I'm doing right now is like me trying to figure out why I would like die immediately if I couldn't hear. I'm just like trying to
Yeah,
understand like why am I like
music obsessed.
music obsessed in
I think
like a
that
crippling way sometimes. Like sometimes I'll be out in public with friends and I'll be like, everybody needs to shut up right now. I need to hear what this is.
you're
Or
like a
I'm gonna
human Shazam.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
I heard you in your last episode with your friend Tyler, I think, saying that your
Yeah.
dad used to quiz you when a song would come on the radio.
Constantly.
My
Yeah.
dad and my little brother would play that same game. I feel like that's such like a dad son move. He would listen to The Rock,
Yeah.
whatever that station was, and they would
102 in
try to
Springfield.
see who could get
Yeah.
it first.
Uh-huh.
And it made me a lot smarter riding in the car with them for sure.
Yeah, maybe it is like I think my sister felt kind of left out too.
I just inserted myself with no problem. And then my dad was like, when we started asking to put our music on, he was like, no, we have to play our game. I think it was like his little way of bonding with us, which was really
Yeah.
sweet.
But that was me and my dad with the same station too. Um I don't know. I'll have to maybe we need to do like another episode at some point because we're almost out of time and I am gonna break my brain trying to think about a second song to your
Sorry to put you on
question.
the spot,
No,
but
it's
that's a good one. Temptations. Wow.
yeah. Yeah. What about you? You have a
I'm okay. Don't make it's not a Backstreet Boys song actually, but it's Hoku Perfect Day. the Legally Blonde openings.
The first radio show that I did when I started doing it, I put Another Dumb Blonde on there, which I think
I
is like
love Hoku
a
so much.
monumental song.
She deserves more. I mean, I don't know why
We
she
might get
was
cut off, just so you know.
okay.
Sorry.
Justice for Hoku. If that's the last thing I say,
Yeah.
justice for Hoku. Where is she? Come back to
Legend.
us.
Legend. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gabriel.
It's
I'm
great to talk
so
to you.
happy to be here. Thank you so much.
All right. I'll let you know when it goes out tomorrow. Okay.
Amazing.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, Kelsey. See ya. All right. Thank you to Kelsey. If you're interested, you can check out When They Popped on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and check out what they got going on there. Episodes come out every week. And they're pretty serious. I don't think they would call themselves journalists, but they are at least very good at what they do. So check out When They Popped. If you're interested in anything else I got going on, you can check out the newsletter, which is buttondown.email/here to listen. Or you can listen to the radio show that I do on WVEW, which is the community radio station in Brattleboro, Vermont. That's 107.7 FM locally, or you can stream it online at wvew.org. And that's every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. All right, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next Monday.